All right, family, we should be live right now. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Back at y'all with another episode. Me, Rod had the place on fire last night for about 2 hours, y'all, and we come right back tonight. It's that type of year. I was telling y'all, yes, it's just that type of year.
Yes.
I got two. So what's so special about tonight's show? The brother Rod Hayes started out the year putting us in a proper mindset when he was talking about the what's it called, the Mahata. How do you say that, Rod?
Maherta.
Maherta. We was talking about the Maherta and the Golden Age and all that, putting us in a proper mind frame. Sharif made his debut this year, and he's been absolutely phenomenal with his research. And Blue Pill has made a lot of appearances this year. Just spirits. My spirit talks to me, and it told me to, feature Blue Pill more on the show this year. The brother that the world needs to hear more of what Blue Pill has to say. So bringing these three brothers here tonight is a great way to end May and bring in the month of June. That's the month that they say summer starts, the summer solstice. So these are three main figures who have done an amazing job on this platform this year. We're gonna have a great show tonight. Amazing conversation, scientific conversation. Get comfortable though, family. This is like a pop-up show. I told y'all the last minute. I think that makes it more intriguing sometime when y'all don't know what's going down and y'all just find out it's about to go down. You're like, oh shit. So we're creating that suspense that we don't get no more because of streaming. And you know exactly what's gonna come on, when it's gonna come on. But we got some suspense happening tonight. Let me get this commercial going real quick. We'll be back in 30 seconds, and we're going to get right into it, family. All right? So get comfortable. Tell your friends and family. Let's get to this commercial. Be right back.
New Motivation with King Simon. Text me now at 347-496-1022. You could also take my course if you want to, but do text me for your sessions at 347-496-1022. You could also get my books on Amazon at Linktree/King Simon the New Motivator. Remember, you can book your session and get it done right now. 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. King Simon the New Motivator.
All right, family. So without further ado, I want to welcome back to the platform. Like I said, these three gentlemen been on the platform doing their thing this year. Rod Hayes, Sharif Bey, Blue Pillar. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. So we had a very in terms of collective consciousness, the year started out with Cat Williams and the whole world. It was the most viewed video on YouTube ever. Blue Pill's getting ready to go home. He's in the car. Let me connect him again. Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp, the most viewed interview ever. Cat Williams kept talking about how the truth will be revealed this year. Things will get exposed. People didn't know he had that level of consciousness to him. And we seen a brother up there spitting some knowledge. Fast forward, another viral interview that recently happened, Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan. The brother was dropping some serious science. Shout out to all the scientists out there who are doing their thing, and shout out to the brothers and sisters out there who are scientists, but they may be scared to go public with their findings because of the criticism that they may receive, because of the degenerate culture that we live in. So we are here to make conversations like these regular, make conversations like these popular. So it's a good thing that we're doing this. We're doing this on a Tuesday night. Me and Rod, we're on a Monday night. Like, this is just regular shit. I talk to Rod, it's regular shit. I talk to Sharif, we on the phone for an hour, we kicking it. This should be regular conversations amongst our people. We are going to raise our consciousness. We're doing it right now. With that being said, I want to start out. Blue will be here any second, but let me start out like this. So, me and Rob was talking yesterday about a little bit about. We was talking about a lot of things. We was talking about pre-Adamite civilization. The antediluvian civilization before the so-called Great Flood, or before Adam and Eve, or before Noah's Ark, or whatever. And we was having a great conversation. And one of the things that came up was the Terrence Howard talk, and we talked about how he said he remembered his birth. He remembered being born in his mother's stomach. I wanted to ask you this yesterday, Rod, but I forgot. It's related to that. Let me put Blue Pill back on. Blue Pill's back in the crib. It's related to the conversation we was having yesterday because Rod also remembers his birth. I want to know, in terms of the soul, a lot of people, because I hear different things from different people. When does the soul, when does consciousness usually enter the avatar, and why is it different for different people? Let me just give an example. I told Rod this yesterday. Um, I remember distinctly being around 4 years old, and then imagine you just sitting there. Imagine your body's just there. Then you just like, I just remember, it was like a shot. Like a motherfucker took some, like a motherfucker just shot me, and I'm like, and my family, they was playing, I think, Zelda at the time. Somebody was playing Nintendo, Zelda. It's like a core memory. I just remember like you sitting there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I'm here. And you just like, so it's like, I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of sisters is pregnant, a lot of sisters have babies. Some people say the soul is in that avatar. The sisters say, I feel that baby kicking in my belly. That baby's there. Some people say, no, the soul comes later on. I'm just trying to figure out, when does the soul enter this avatar, and why does the soul choose different times for different avatars?
Okay, the DNA is a code.
Yes.
Each codon is got a certain frequency. In order for an ancestor to incarnate into a descendant, they have to be a close enough DNA alignment for the energy to be broadcast like a radio signal, but to a different radio.
Okay.
Right. When you look at the fetal development, the point where the zygote sparks, it's a spark.
Mm-hmm.
That's at the point the soul is attaching to the zygote.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the first trimester.
Mm-hmm.
The mother can telepathically talk to the child if she remember her yoni magic. This is why they want to send you to Western trained OBGYNs and gynecologists so that they can tell you the limited information they want you to know about the capabilities of the uterus in the development of the child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The mother is always communicating with the child from inception.
Mm-hmm.
This is why the umbilical cord is there. It's an information highway. Right? So the mother always was talking to the child from the time he became a parasite on her uterus wall. They've been talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's because she's not here in physical form. And those of us who lost our mother know we can still hear her talking to us. Because she's telepathically tied, frequency of love that can't go away.
Indeed. Sharif, you want to add on to that? Yeah, I don't know if Blue, did you hear the question?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me just pose this real quick, Sharif, and then Sharif will go on, then you, Blue Pill. All right. So one of the things, real quick, Blue, Terrence Howard talked about how he remembered his birth, being born in his mother's stomach. My question was, I hear different people say different things about when the soul or spirit enters the physical avatar. I had a distinct memory of being 4 years old, and all of a sudden watching Zelda, watching my family play Zelda on the screen, Nintendo, and that's like a distinct core memory I have of being in this dimension. So I'm just trying to figure out. I heard different things from different people. Some people say this, some people say that. I'm just trying to figure out when exactly does the soul enter the avatar, and why is it different for different people if that's the case? But I'm gonna let Sharif. You want to touch on that first, Blue?
Yeah, let him please.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Blue.
In the system called human design, we have two crystals, right? One crystal is the formation crystal, meaning that at formation, there's a specific crystal that deals with the formation of your body, which would be the code that the mother has in order to build you out. 88 days before your inception, before you actually come through that channel, they say that's when spirit enters your crystal atop your quote unquote dome. So that's when they say that the spirit activates inside of the portal on or about 90 days, about 3 months. So this would be, what's this? That's the beginning of the
first trimester. That's what Rod said. That's the first trimester, Blue.
That's the first trimester?
Yeah, the first 3 months, I believe, is the first trimester.
No, this is I'm saying this comes 88 days before conception. So you in the womb for 270 days. So this would be the last 3 months. This would be the last trimester. I think this is what, according to what human design says about the formation of your two crystals.
What's human design again, Blue? What's that? Real quick. What is that?
Human design is a system that was brought by an individual named, I think his name was Ra. I forget the fullness of the name, but it was in the 80s, and he said he got this information from Moorish mystics. And it's a system that combines I Ching with codon. Like it's your codons as your meridians. As I Ching, if anybody's seen 3-body problem, this is what they were hitting on. You know what I'm saying? That each one of our codes or our genes, our codons are coded, and they all deal with the 64 gates.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that Terrence was kind of getting into. You know what I'm saying? The latent Eastern science about who and what we are, as opposed to the Western science that's tied into ideologies that specifically amplify what the church was talking about.
Right.
So in that particular science that he said that he was, I believe he came from Spain, and he said he got this from Moorish mystics. This was old, what they call the old religion or old world knowledge that passed through him. And
it's funny you say that, because what you're describing is the parthogenic birth of a monoparent child. You're not describing the conception with two different templates coming together. You're describing the fundamental root to parthenogenesis, where the codons is activated solely by the mother. In this case, that's the science you drop. It's a different science from what I was telling them earlier. The science that deals with the two-part parentage, right? We're talking about the separation of alleles on the chromosomes in order to form whole body chromosomes, because now you're drawing from two sides of the family. And you could see the spark when this event takes place in the first trimester. But it's a different science. And a lot of the ancient science when they start talking about before the Diluvian history, what we was going before they started talking about parthenogenesis, the science is more detailed and intricate for the monoparent birthing.
And this brings to focus a lot of what we're discussing, right? Modern information versus ancient information. Correct. Where, you know, Terrence House was reminding them, like, this information has been around for 70,000 years. Like, the church just got around. Technically, if they said that they didn't know that there was a Western hemisphere until 1492, that's like 1,500 years after Christ. And then you had thousands of years prior to that was pre-Christ history, and none of y'all made it over here yet. And by the time you got over here, well-established proto-civilizations that was already ancient with architecture that was around for thousands of years.
Look, and this is the segue for Brother Anael Bay, because the Moorish navigators have records of the Americas that predate Columbus.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, to jump in, you all already launched into the stratosphere. So, you know, and so I'm gonna basically, kind of just walk with you all on what you've already said. You've already said some powerful things. First and foremost, as was already said, above top secret in this paradigm, I'm talking about, you know, the European psychology, world Euro domination. In this particular paradigm, above top secret is ancient technology. Let's just get that out the way. Right. It's ancient technology. You know, Mr. Greer, who's got the CE5 program, right? He talks about this all the time, about how this world, the scientific aspect of this paradigm caught up to our forefathers in 1954. They reacquired, and I have to say reacquired when you include the totality of things, they reacquired anti-gravity technology in 1954. That means that the most advanced vehicle you got today, the most advanced car you got today is 100 years obsolete. And that's just a fact. That being said, right, our perspective, on the original question, when I say our perspective, I'm talking about from the Moorish Science Symbol of America, right? Flesh is a transmitting utility. Let's take a very, very, very simple, and pardon me for the analogy, but let's take sexual intercourse, right? I don't care if it's a one-night stand. I don't care if I barely know the sister and it's a one-night stand, right? I am pleasuring her through the body. She's in the body. She's not the body. You see what I'm saying? And vice versa. Vice versa. Pleasure is a sense, and the sense is interpreted by the brain interpreting electrical and chemical reactions. So it's experienced inside, not outside. You see what I'm saying? Right. So again, flesh is a transmitting utility. That being said, human beings are living souls. Souls are prenatal and postmortem. See that? So when we're talking, for instance, epigenetics and memory at the genetic level, that memory is prenatal and postmortem. Now, as what you said, brother Rich, about when we're able to remember, we teach the Moorish Science Symbol of America, right? Man is a living soul, meaning he's human spirit clothed with soul. And then that matrix goes into the body. Now, that being said, mind never does forget. It's just our inability to access it in a particular incarnation, or the ability to do so, or the degrees of ability to do so based on the changing conditions, based on the advancement of that particular soul, a number of other factors.
Right. So I would,
yeah, go ahead, Blue. I want to get to I want to keep
real quick. I would preference my initial answer to say, thinking with my original mind, I would say that there was never a time that man was not, meaning that
come on, brother,
your mind, the mind is a static thing. Because Terrence is hitting on Walter Russell. Walter Russell was speaking about a tripartite aspect of reality, that you go from rest to existence, right? You pop out. He's like, you just pop out. You show niggas you here, and then you go back to quote unquote eternal rest. But that continuum is the static of consciousness. Consciousness always exists. So I would think that if consciousness always exists, the animation aspect of spirit, like Rod says, when that initial impulse, when that explosion and that contact takes place, spirit is present.
Yes.
Especially if there's matter involved, because what matter is unanimated. In order for matter to be animated, spirit has to be involved.
Come on, brother.
So there's a light that comes on that phosphorus aspect of the sperm that's hitting the egg, and the egg within itself now becomes the matter, and light oscillate, and what he was talking about in terms of sound, that sperm, that light hitting that egg, boom, that big bang, that's the beginning of it. I'll put it back.
That's the gateway. It's the opening up of the door for a particular frequency of spirit to incarnate. When man is, as they say in the Moorish science, if we use the Moorish science today, man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Correct.
What is the truth and what is the falsehood? The eternal spirit is the everlasting truth in man. The physical form is the temporary vessel, which gives the man the false identity called the ego of self.
Hold on.
I like this. I like this shit.
Yeah,
Say
I'm
again.
gonna wave. Yo, no, he hit it perfectly. One of the things that, listen, a lot of people will take that teaching and they misunderstand it because we hear the words truth and falsehood. We moralize it, think good and bad. No. Ron Hayes hit it right on the nose. Truth is
Yeah.
anything that's permanent. Falsehood is anything that's temporary.
Right.
That's
So
it.
spirit would be truth, physicality would be
Come
false,
on.
because the concept that these avatars or something is yours is false. They don't last forever, and it could trick you out because the epidermis, the last layer that formulates of skin. Now we down here playing the skin game when man is truly spirit and you are eternal light. Why you don't focus on that? Because the thing that combines us all is that spark of light. And that's what we are identifying when we are even edifying the information that was brought to us by these Europeans to say, I can see the light in him and look past the abject aspect of physicality to know that the information that they bring in is right and exact. So shout out. And let me just preference one last thing, because this whole thing is about philosophy that we're talking about. When they was prefacing what Joe Rogan is on now, they were saying Jordan Peterson is the one that has been giving him a neo-colonial Christian nationalist philosophy. And he's building a paradigm around his philosophy, right? The fact that we are speaking the way that we're speaking, we are unraveling parables. And the thing that they were speaking about with Christianity is that the prophecy was fulfilled because they said it would be a Messiah that comes to speak in parables, right? And that's what quote unquote Jesus did. But now you got to interpret that. Nobody's interpreting the parables. So what Rogers did, he interpreted that parable. Truth and falsehood are strangely mixed. What does it mean? The spirit, truth, now occupies flesh, falsehood, and there's going to be an internal struggle between them to see who's in control, body or mind. Can you give time? Let me go back on mute.
Yeah, indeed. Let me because there's so much to uncover, and I love the way this started right here. I love the way this started. This is like, if I was the point guard on a team, y'all will be y'all, you know what I'm saying? This is like the dream team right here. We just need 2 more players. We need one more player to have a full run of full court. Damn, why we ain't got one more person on here? That would have been a full court, man.
Because you ain't called Billy and see if he was busy.
Oh, damn it, I ain't called Billy, man. Shit. But listen, so all right, one of the things, Blue, and shout out to everybody in the chat. This is history in the making tonight. One of the things Terrence talked about that people know about in the metaphysical community is that color and sound is interchangeable. He talked about how you could turn color back into sound. It's basically the same wavelength, it's just twice as long. Absolutely. You just have to keep dividing light by 2, and you'll eventually end up with an audible version. What I want to ask you, and another thing he talked about, so I want to bring up 2 points that I want to ask my question. Color and sound interchangeable. You keep dividing the light by 2, you end up with an audible sound. He also talked about how we could only see 0.05% of the light spectrum. We're basically cosmically blind. Yes. So we have this thing about us called the aura that you could pick up from I think Carillion photography, and you can see a person's aura. So all these colors around each individual, but we can't see it because we cosmically blind. Now, if color is sound, when somebody walks in a room, we say we feel them, but do we also hear them? If color is sound, this thing, you know, our slang is scientific. So we have weed, right? Say we got weed, and we be like, this shit is loud. We describe it in a musical, in a sound way. The weed ain't making no motherfucking sound, but we describe it as, oh, if it's good, oh, this is loud. We describe it as a sonic. We describe what people do that. You know we ill. We describe
the people who live by the drum.
We describe weed sonically. So with that being said, when we talking about this aura, when somebody, the reason why we may be attracted to somebody, the reason why I've been with my lady 19 years, maybe her music is appealing to me. This person's music is appealing. The reason why they love Rod so much, he's so popular, his music is so appealing. He ain't got to open up his mouth, but they love. So let's talk about the aura, and let's talk about us hearing people without them even speaking. And I know Sharif want to start. Go ahead, Sharif.
There is an actual scientific term for this.
Yes, sir.
It's called synesthesia.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Look it up. Synesthesia. But the Western world calls it a medical illness or a medical anomaly.
They really do.
Where people hear colors, they taste shapes, Right. Now, here it is. You know, and again, shout out to Brother Terrence Howard, man. He was on to something. Here we go.
Yeah.
To oversimplify this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it this way.
Yes.
After learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam is mathematics, it stands true. You can prove it at no limit of time. Hold on. Geometry is just visible numbers. Light is visible numbers. Sound is audible numbers. And that's it, because what are we looking at? I've said this before, I said it on your show before, Brother Rich. Brother Rod's shirt is green. Why is it green? It only appears green inside our head because it reflects back a frequency, a number that is picked up by our eyes and sent to our optic nerve, which sends to our brain, and our brain interprets it as green. It's only green inside your head, not on his shirt. See what I'm saying? It's mathematics. It's numbers. So you would, and what you said before is exactly right. I use this with my students all the time. Light is electromagnetic energy. But guess what? Gamma and delta rays are electromagnetic energy. So the visible spectrum for the average human being is between infrared and ultraviolet. That's a little sliver. What if you could expand your perception beyond infrared and ultraviolet? What else would you see?
Yeah, good point.
You remember the other day we was talking and I was telling you how the blues singer pick up the frequency of that woman when he did her wrong? This is what you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
Right? He can hear it, but he don't know where it's coming from. He think it's a song playing in his head.
Shit. Damn.
And it's a combination of frequencies emitted by her collective chakra resonance carried on the sound wave at the subconscious level. You got to remember, just like we can see only a 0.5% of the light spectrum, we can only hear slightly more of the sound spectrum. They got subliminal sound has been being used against us in media and entertainment for the last 50 years. Right? Because they know that these things, we can assimilate this as data. And go back to the early days of computer program. GIGO, what's that? Garbage in, garbage out. Right? So if they keep overwhelming your senses with misinformation and false paradigms, when it comes time to upload some serious information, where you gonna put it? You talking about you full of the Holy Ghost when you full of commentary. You can cite all of the commentary of the Moody Bible, the Orthodox Christian Bible with the footnotes, and you quote them so good, people think they came from you all the time. You ain't doing nothing but quoting somebody else's opinion of an opinion about a story that may not even be true. Look, my man told us we are instruments. We electromagnetic beings. In the physical form, we are accumulated DNA codons. When you break DNA down to its crystalline amino acid form, you see that you have something that breaks up light rays, a prism. And the light rays have to be separated in order for each ray to be used according to its wavelength and frequency.
That part.
So as an electromagnetic being, we download what we call consciousness into the physical world, and then we get absorbed with the physical world and forget where we came from. Right? So when Brother Rich was saying about the baby and consciousness coming into the baby and the remembrance of the womb, if it wasn't for a lot of us being shocked with the optic nerve with that bright ass light, a lot more of us would remember being in the womb.
Right.
That's not an accident. That's deliberate.
Right. Simply because we are in water, an amniotic fluid, and the root word of memory is mean, which is water.
Indeed.
So I would say, sit down and discover sound is color. I wrote that in one of my last rhymes. I told you last week when me and Raw was on the line that my phone filled up. Why? Because of the aurora borealis, right? So light and sound became digital data and matter, and it filled my storage up. You feel me? So light and sound denotes what? Form and function. We are composed of sound and light.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? We have organs and we are light beings. So we're a composite, right? Because the light is the information and instruction, just like we're speaking about with inception. When that light incepts into that egg, then the instructions, right, are now telling the egg how to formulate itself according to the information that was just deduced by the sound and the light. So it's the same thing. Our subtle energy bodies are picking up. When you come in the room, you say, I feel a bad vibe.
Right.
That is a discordant sound that is emanating from this person's subtle body. You don't even got to see them. They could be behind the wall in the cut, but just because it's to pick up on a discordance, right, of their particular resonant frequency that don't resonate with you. What do we say? I don't resonate with them. What you think we mean by that?
Right. Brother,
My sound clashes with his sound.
We've all, if anybody who's been at the night, matter of fact, here, let's take it back. Let's some, New York talk, right? 90s, Gladiator School. You've been to the tunnel?
Yes.
You know exactly what we're talking about here. When it's about to pop,
you feel it.
Air gets electric. Come on, bro.
Nobody says nothing.
Right.
Hey, look, that you know to get out in a split second, because it's about to hit the wall and hit the fan. It's a feeling. You get them things to stand up. You're like, uh-oh.
You hear guys that was locked up.
On? Huh?
The old heads I was locked up with, they say if you feel the tension cutting thick enough to cut with a knife, don't go to the yard.
Word is born.
Go to the yard.
Yes. Yes.
I thought that was just a penitentiary fairy tale. I woke up one day and I walked up to the doors getting ready to go outside, and I was like, oh, bullshit. I'm going back to bed. I went back to bed, and look, there was an all-out war out on the yard while I was going back to bed.
Yeah. Yes. Now I want to say this too. Like we're using terms that are familiar. So when we say sound, when we say, I'm not going to say it's not a sound. I'm not going to say that because sound is vibration, right? Okay. But I just want to add a little something to that. We talked about this before. If I'm going to measure a thing, the instrument I'm using to measure it must be made of the substance of the thing I'm measuring. This is an important rule. So if we're talking, for instance, scalar waves, of which consciousness is at a scalar rate, you are not measuring it with anything other than something that has the same principle. This is why dowsing works, but Western science cannot explain dowsing. It's because the human consciousness is at a scalar level. Therefore, it can make use of, it can detect scalar level vibrations.
Yes.
So when we're talking sound on that level, it's not something that's audible with the physical ear. You see what I'm saying? It's not audible with the physical ear. It is perceived by the person, the soul inside the body. This is the major reason, in my opinion, why Western science specifically, Western science says that it is unscientific to include the effect of the observer in the experiment. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it this way: put the original man's mind to sleep.
Wow. I got one more question about sound before we move on. Like I said, so many things to touch on, and Terrence Howard talked about so many things. And I'm glad that we're making breakthroughs as we're talking about. and dissecting that conversation that took place, and that's what this is all about. And so one thing that's very important that Sharif said on my show earlier this year, he said music is technology, and a lot of us look at music as entertainment. Look at perceiving it as entertainment and perceiving it as technology is two different things. We may be the most technological people on the planet because we are the most musical people on the planet. So that's just something to keep in mind. Let me ask this question. If we're saying sound is color, Blue Pill, and I think Rod Hayes mentioned jazz earlier. As a piano player, I had a jazz piano teacher, Haitian brother. He kept telling me, Rich, I want to teach you jazz. I kept telling him I want to learn how to play them pop chords, pop music chords, because I want to, make beats that people could vibe to, whatever. He said, Rich, I'm gonna show you how to play jazz music so you can add color to your sound. So let's say, and let's say a regular chord in pop music may be C, E, G. Let's say you hit the note C, E, G. Those are three different colors. And they play those notes, C, E, G. Then you go to another, it's three chords. In jazz, they'll have some shit like C, E, G, A, B, because B is the seventh note. It'll be C, E, G, A, B. It'll be like a 6-note chord. So let's say that's 6 colors within that chord. When in Western music, they play 3 chords. So it's double the amount of colors in jazz than it is in Western music. My question would be, if we analyze music as colors, would you say, and we're thinking about clothing, in the West, we dress, I got a white and black hat, white and black shirt. Would you say jazz is like the equivalent of dashikis? You see, dashikis got all them colors. So would you say, if we're comparing music to colors, would you say jazz is the dashikis of music, and what I'm wearing is the I guess Western music of clothing? So talk to me about that. Yeah.
Who want to go? I would best summarize it to say that Western music is very logical and very practical because there's sheet music involved, and you got to learn it and study it and go from one thing to that. And jazz is the opposite. It's divine feminine because it's improv, and improvisation deals with creativity, and it deals with a cascade of colors. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going through the spectrum. And when you go through the spectrum, you're not arrested towards linear, you feel me, execution, black and whiteness. You're somewhere in the gray. And that's where jazz exists. Improv is playing within the grays, between the lines. You know what I'm saying? That's why what he said in terms of music being the highest science, and liberal arts, which is the quadrivium. Liberal arts is the 7 stages.
That's right.
Masonry, right? All Masonic institutions are built on the 7 steps of the quadrivium. At the very highest step of that is music. There's a reason for that, because it is what it organizes all of the strings. It connects all things. You feel me? So at a subatomic level, like the brother said, where are we picking up these vibrations? At subatomic levels where the strings are at, the muons and the neutrinos and things of that nature. It's subtle, it's picking it up. You can't see it, you can't even observe it, but it's registering. Yes. So yeah, that's my piece.
The best way to understand what we're talking about hearing that music, is to read how Beethoven said he would hear the entire symphony play, and then he would write the chords. Right. And the difference in the music that produced jazz in the musical notes of the Western piano player is orchestra versus ragtime. Scott Joplin changed to fill in the blanks, and it became a pariah the same as hip hop. Right. But the addition to see the colors, to read the colors of the spectrum, every note has a color associated with it.
Fact.
Right? They got a number associated with it.
Yes.
Right? And then in the series of numbers produce a pitch and a frequency that we interpret as what's called harmony, melody. Right? And then if the music is sweet, we say that's feel-good music. But when my mom and them hear our music, they say that's that bad house music. Because the frequency they was on has changed with the children that they gave birth to, because
Exactly.
every generation is birthed with a different cause and purpose of being here.
That's a fact.
If you didn't have a cause and a purpose, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
I hear people all the time talking about this kind of people ain't supposed to be here, or that kind. If they wasn't supposed to be here, guess what? They wouldn't even be here.
There you go.
Even the ones that did the most violent, wickedest things to the people that's been here the longest is supposed to be here. This is the chapter of misery. And the misery does something to the God form that the pleasure could never produce. Right? The pre-karma, the build-up for the payout.
Right.
The long suffering, the enduring of the punishment in order to reap the greatest reward. The greatest reward is to get it all.
Right.
Get so much that it ain't nothing to give to the ones that took it from us. So now they can't pay us nothing back because they don't have nothing, because we took back everything that was ours by the blood and the right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
In addition, or conversely, about the whole thing, that was first of all, I'm learning as well as being on this day. I'm learning. This is dope. But in addition to the whole thing about harmonics, you know, and again, salute to both of you brothers for what you just presented, you know, with the harmonics piece, and also too about the 7 liberal arts, brother. That's real. Because what we're really talking about when we're talking about harmonics, we're literally talking about the matrix of material manifestation. Your physical body is a masterpiece of music, because we're talking about harmonics. Now the opposite of harmony is disharmony. That is the true definition of sin. Discordant vibration, noise. That is sin. That's evil. That causes destruction. That causes disillusion. You see, it doesn't cause things to come together, to formation. Harmony does that. Disharmony breaks things up. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Look,
One other thing that brother Blue Pill that had mentioned about the type of music, when you've got simple 4x4 cadence, doom, 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 and then as opposed to multiple cadences and depth that you get with jazz or classical music or whatever, right?
Say, yeah. Yes.
To use just 2 words, monochronic versus polychronic. It's just like in the European psychology. You speak, then I speak, then you speak, then you speak, and that's monochronic.
Right.
What do they say about our people? Oh, they loud. They loud, they boisterous. I can't tell if they was arguing or just having a regular conversation, because they just jump in. Yeah, because we think polychronic. That's why.
Right. So what did they say?
That's a good point. That's a good point, Sharif. That's a very good
what
point.
They say about Coltrane, they said that he was able to play notes between the notes, which means, and they said that jazz was the highest form of science.
Yes.
And, you know, just the other day I seen Miles say that it never was called jazz according to them, right? The highest form of science at the same time that they were saying that we were intellectually inferior. Why did they consider it the highest form of science? Because they couldn't measure it. Why could they not measure it? Because we were playing notes between notes that they could not pick up. They did not have the audible ear in order to follow the note to see where we were going. We left them in the void. And they were like, these people are not even reading the music. How are they doing?
Right.
Yeah. Good point, Blue. Good point, Blue.
Right.
And we're skipping on top of air. You feel me? So, and mind
don't forget about the fixers. Don't forget about in the early days of music. They had a house band of brothers they called the music fixers. When the other people would make music, they would have to take it to them in order to fix the sound. The sound ain't right. It's something wrong.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Very interesting.
There's our Tibetan brothers. You can look this up online now. In Tibet, called the Gyoto monks, Gyoto. The Kyoto monks do their chanting in these very deep guttural sounds, but each monk can project more than one tone simultaneously.
Fire. That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Oh man, listen, y'all. So let's, we talk. So when you talk about quantum physics, something that comes up all the time is waves and particles collapsing the waves. One of the things a lot of the speakers and the teachers say is that we're like fish in water. We just can't see the water, but there's water all around us.
There is.
Yeah. We hear it constantly about one of the new things that emerged. Emoto was programming the water. We talked about programming water and water having memory. So you speak to your water, you might put a label on your water, and it changes the molecular structure to water. What I want to ask you, just thinking, and I'm very interested in getting you brothers' opinion, if we could change the molecular structure of water, then and just another thing, they say water is God. A lot of people say if there's one word to describe God, it would be water. That's what a lot of people would describe as God. It would be water. My question to you would be, how effective do you think it would be instead of, how you meditate, and sometimes people meditate, they have all these thoughts on their mind. They say, no. Don't think no thoughts. Just breathe. Don't think any thoughts. Just breathe. That's the best form of meditation. How effective would it be if we're being taught in this new age community to talk to water and programming? How effective would it be to just listen to the water, and instead of programming it, allow it to give us answers? So let's say instead of me talking to water, I'm meditating for water and just breathe, not try to program it. And when I drink it, that water will give me the answers I need because I didn't consciously program it, but the divine consciously programmed me. So talk to me about, instead of talking to water, what do you think about the idea of listening to water, meditating to water, and allowing it to give us what we need to be programmed with instead of us programming it?
That's not new to us as a people. That's ancient. You know the women who wear all of the white stuff and they go down the riverbank?
Yes.
That's ancient. That go all the way back to early Atlantean days. And the science to it is the UV rays of the sun is amplified by the element water. The women in the white becomes the magnet with the uterus to the energy. The men have to ride on the mitochondrial in order to pick up the signals that's coming in. The water is an amplifier. It is a physical representation of spirit. That's why they say that water is God. If you could see spirit, the closest physical thing that you could use to describe what you're looking at would be water. As far as living in water, you got to remember every body of water around the planet is simultaneously evaporating and putting water particles up in the air. So of course we in water. We walking around in water. We breathe in water. We just breathing it less than the fish.
All right.
Yeah, we exist in a fishbowl, right? We're surrounded by water. They're just at different density levels. But there's precipitation always around us. There's our ionosphere above us, right? The only way that things can rain is because there's precipitation up there. There's the only way that there could be ice in space is because there's water there. The water is older than the sun, and you're composed of 90% of it. So inside and outside, it's only water. The root of water, when you go and look up aqua, and then you get qua. And qua goes into the root word of what quantum is. So yes, water is a medium, and it's a channeling medium. In order for there to be the face of quote unquote God, they said that they saw it where first? Let's talk. Where did they see that they seen the face of God cascading over what?
Over the waters.
Waters, right? And it has to be a
Covering
particular
over the face of the deep.
right? Face of the deep. And in choppy waters, you can't see the face, right? So you cannot be angered. You have to bring yourself to stillness in order for quote unquote God to appear, because anger denotes what? That other opposite or that other extreme of what water represents. Because water could be cold and water could be hot. Water can burn, and then you could put your ass on ice.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So water within itself is in and everything. And he spoke about the ability to separate water, because there's different matters of water. When I went to Mount Shasta, where Emoto did the test that, right, at the Sacramento Head Waterway, which is the water that comes off of Mount Shasta, the water was silky.
Yes.
It was in the fourth phase of water, because it has now separated and become structured water, right? Structured water feels silky. It's almost like what you consider to be plasma.
Yes.
Right. And this is that water that's nearest to the viscosity of what the brother be talking about. Ayaki Awaken, the H3O, right? Which would be coconut water with the electrons in it. Where when I drunk the Shasta water, and these are all the things that I've said on your show, Brother Rich, since 2016. I said that this shit was angel tears, because I needed a little bit of it. And not only did it fill me up, I was happy all day and laughing. I was in the highest elevated state that I've ever been. So much so that I came back here and I stopped selling my water, because I was the first one to bottle alkalized water in glass and put gold in it. And Sharif, you know this because you specifically was there.
For sure.
And gold water in glass, not gold water drops. I was selling alkaline bottled water, glass bottles since 2011, 20.
Actual fact. Actual fact. That's right.
Okay. So I stopped selling it. I fell on my own sword when I taste what real water tastes like. And I know that's not what I was selling. So water's a medium. Bar none. That I was like, I wouldn't even have to eat if I was just drinking this water, because it was so mineral rich. And I'm only in the game to get the minerals. I'm only eating the food to get the minerals, and I'm burning. It has to be an aggregate efficiency. If I'm burning more energy to extract more energy, in your body now, you got to be a water processing plant to take the toxins, the chemicals, the arsenogens, and everything else is just in the water, just in order to get you a good sip.
Ain't that something? So I want to add this to what you got. First of all,
wait. I just want to add one last thing. Because our bodies are 90% water, your shirts, the importance of functional fashion and having a uniform on is that the logos on your shirts are now embossing the water in your body to respond to that command. Right?
Blue, real quick. I was talking to real quick, because I don't want you. I was talking to Dr. Catherine Clinton about tattoos embossing our water. If you're saying the clothing does that, I was asking her, what the hell does our tattoos does to the water in our body? You know what I'm saying?
Permanence, yes. Instructions.
Every tattoo is a biological sigil. If you don't know why you're getting a tattoo, you don't know what you're charging up to put on your body. Because when you go through that pain and that blood and ink ritual, you are inscribing something. If you don't have a meaning, you better give it one.
How about that?
Because if you give it a meaning, you can control the energy that you use it to drive you and to utilize.
Indeed.
The brother earlier mentioned the dowsing, the cymatics of dowsing. And the reason the scientists can't acknowledge the accuracy of it is because they would have to then acknowledge the accuracy of tarot reading. They would
absolutely
have to acknowledge the accuracy of the I Ching. They would have to acknowledge the accuracy of the runes, because the subconscious is the communicating vessel that's talking to us through these mediums. These are just tools. A carpenter need a hammer to drive a nail.
Right.
And sometimes a psychic uses the tool to develop the sense so that they don't need the tools no more.
Right. That's fact. That's
Talk to him, Rod. Talk to him.
Fact.
Talk to him, Rod.
So what I wanted to add with this whole water thing is this. Let's apply the earlier principle that we talked about earlier about physicality to the subject of water. Right? Truth and falsehood. Truth is anything that's permanent. Falsehood is anything that's temporary. Right? So we know that physicality is temporary. So to take it a step further, physicality is a shadow or a projection from higher realities. So if there's a physical water, there's an alchemical water. This is how earth feng shui operates. first, let's talk about that. Most people in the West are only familiar with 1/3 of feng shui. There is heaven feng shui, there's earth feng shui, and then there's man feng shui. To oversimplify, being at the right place, at the right time, with the right energy. That's how that works. Now, with earth feng shui placement, right? This is the real, to westernize the science, the scientific logic of it. This is how it works, people. As we've mentioned it before, every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. Even between us electronically, there is not empty space in between us. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Quantum physics has confirmed that even empty space out there is not empty. Space itself is a fabric. So when you place things in different places, you are modifying the space, which is not empty. It's not empty. You're modifying the energetic configuration, and it has a direct effect on you and others.
Like what Terrence Howard said, he said, when you put the object in a particular place, this is what caused the wave conjugation, because you have to be very mindful of how you angle things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because, I mean, he shattered their concept by saying, how do you create the wave if there's nothing that bounces it back? This shit is not infinite. It's finite. It has to bounce back off something so it can phase conjugate and create waves.
Yes.
He destroyed.
You know what? That's also the.
I'm listening.
That's also the root to holography, producing holograms.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good point, Rod. Good point. Good point.
Yes. There's a doctor in Egypt who really blew the lid off a lot of this stuff. Well, he's from Egypt. His name is Dr. Ibrahim Karim. I said, get his material.
Yes.
Woo! Dr. Ibrahim Karim.
I've seen
right? Where he talks about what you were just saying, Brother Blue, about how different colors, let's just talk about that.
Right.
Different color palettes placed in particular arrangements, depending on the room or the space, can open up the 0 point in that space.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let me so one of the things that was talked about, and Blue talked about the shapes that Terrence Howard talked about, was that the how the platonic solids are not real, that we have to get rid of the thinking of these straight lines. Everything has curvature in nature. So I was watching, and I like to use examples to explain science, because people can understand through the examples the science, that you complicated science that you brothers are talking about. So let me use an example of this science of curvature versus linear lines. So a gentleman was on YouTube talking about and one thing he also talked about, we have to get rid of the idea of 45-degree angles. You know, the homes is built like squares. We should make homes like mushrooms. So a gentleman was talking about, I seen a gentleman talking about cats, and he said you could put water in a bowl for a cat, and the water standing still. Then you can have running water in a sink, or you can have water that, in the toilet. When the toilet flushes and it spiral. The cat will choose, sometimes he say, the toilet water or the water from the sink. Then that you could put fancy Mountain Valley spring water in the cat bowl, and the cat will sometimes choose the toilet water over that fancy $5 Mountain Valley spring water that's sitting still in the bowl. So he was saying that the idea that our water comes in 45-degree angles is something that we have to change. Still water is something that destroys the potential and the power that the water possesses. So talk to me about this idea of curvature, and this idea of and the fact that we drink water that comes down these 90-degree pipes, these 45-degree. It's the way it's angled. It's straight lines. It's not
Okay.
like. And I think even Al-Kebalon has a product. Al-Kebalon 44 has a product with a water. It twirls the water, spins the water before you drink it. So talk to me about spinning water versus water that comes down these pipes that is straight across, straight. What is that? Horizontal and then vertical. What? How does that?
I'll add
How does that impact the water that we drink and that we
I would say that again, I'm continuing where we left off because we kind of already hit on it, but I'll repeat it for the sake of the question. You know, water coming out of pipes or water that's pumped out of machines is dead water, right? Because it's not motion. It does not have motion in it. In order for water to be living water, it has to be moving. You know what I'm saying, and naturally alkalized, as opposed to something being mechanically made into said thing, because the life force, the spiraling motion, life is motion. Life is not necessarily stagnation. There's an aspect of life that's stillness. Stagnation is something different.
That's right. That's right.
And that water is over chemicalized, it's over treated, and it's dead. So it's not moving like with the life that the cat, which is picking up magnetism. Hence the fact if a cat moves past you, you feel electric static, right? That cat is looking for life. And the life is, if anything, even if it's coming out of the faucet and it's tap water, the fact that it's moving, it's going to have a little bit more electricity in it than something that's stagnant, as well as the toilet water. It is now, it has a current in it. So the cat is able to, if anything, bypass what would be the tap aspect of it and pick up on the, you know, that spark.
Everybody in the chat saying this is facts. Everybody with cats saying this is facts. I see Oracle Eye said I have 2 cats, only like toilet bowl water. So this is confirmed. We have the people in the chat. Hold on, Blue. We have the people in the chat with the cats. Everybody's confirming this. So all right. Just want to let y'all know that all right, we making some progress here. We okay, all right. Good, Blue. Yeah.
Okay, brother, you know, just to add on to what you're saying and give it extra context, both of them will register as maybe a 2 on a pH scale. Toilet water is not going to be alkaline when you test it. You know what I'm saying? And Dasani is not going to be alkaline when you test it, but they want it because the current that is created by that centrifugal force of it moving, that's what they're picking up on. That's what we don't get. We're not drinking mountain water that we get straight out the stream. We're not going to stream and picking up water that was moving when you caught it. We're buying, if anything, bottled water that's stagnant, been sitting on the shelf and has already been radiated, right? Or we're getting water out of a faucet, and even then, or out of a machine, if you will. And that machine is going to mechanically spiral it. Whereas what Al-Kebalon has, the product he has access to, it's splitting the water and creating structured water. So it's that same silky water that I'm telling you about. This almost like structured water, and also family look into ozone water. That's the best one. Yes.
Look, brother Rich.
Yeah.
45-degree angle. Shaped like an L, ain't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, if you got a hallway with a 45-degree angle at the turn, and you run full speed, and right when you get to the end, you try to make that turn, what you think gonna happen?
Pop into that shit. Pop.
Okay, now the fundamentals of programmable water. That's running into a wall. That's a generated trauma to the water.
Ooh, talk to me, Rod.
Right. So now the water that went through so many left turns going through these 45-degree angles, it accumulated a lot of trauma.
Damn, we drinking trauma water? What the fuck?
Hey, the bottled water in the store is not no better. Everybody that went through there, the water that downloaded everybody attitude.
Oh shit.
Based on the observer effect and the programmable nature of water. The lady who just caught her husband cheating 2 hours before she came to the shopping mall, her energy is in that water when she was glaring at it, thinking about him. It's in that water.
Shit.
Damn.
Right? The little runaway girl who ran in there because she was hot. She needed some air, and she looked at that water, and she mad at her family. That's in that water.
Blue, you hear this shit, Blue? Now we got trauma from our childhood and from our water, nigga. Come on. Bro, we got a lot of work to do.
But here's the thing, though. But this is why this is so powerful, this conversation, right? You know, this is powerful because if you're aware of it, then you play at that level, people.
Talk to me.
You play at that level.
Talk to me, Sharif.
You know what the illest part of this is that when I was initially selling water, we were going into food deserts and we would go to the gas stations to see what communities had water versus didn't have water. They would have chips, they would have soda, and a few of them would have water, you know, and the water always looked dusty and shabby. You like, damn, it looked like it been through something. I wouldn't pick that up. And is it because it's next to the oil? Why does it look a little bit more heavier than oil? And you just bodied that, because if water's a transmitting utility, then it also has to be a transferring utility.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like it's a medium. You know what I'm saying? And it's picking up all of the frequencies, and people are coming into them gas stations. That's especially what I'd be thinking about, you know, some of them waters. Because you like, yo, this water is just different. Whatever they label it or call it. The Fiji don't even taste Fiji.
Right. Right. On a very simple level, I mean, you all took it high, but on just a very, very simple level, right? What grows in running water? Nothing. But what grows in still water? Everything. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a difference between still water and stagnant water, too.
Yes. Yes.
A lake is still water.
Right. Let's say stagnant. Right. That's right.
Stagnant water will spoil like bad food in the refrigerator.
For sure. And stagnant water in nature is sick water. That's why the animals won't touch it.
The old cowboys used to say, if my horse don't drink out that water hole, you won't catch me sipping nowhere near it.
That's what they said, right?
Yeah. That's how look, everywhere was a body of water before the settlers came was drinkable. Now, good luck to find the drinkable source of water in its natural habitat.
And think
you
about
know, with all kind of stuff.
Think about that, Rod, and think about that panel. That these were the individuals when they got off them boats. What they said when they hit the water, they decimated entire populations. So what sort of disease individuals was this that they can change the viscosity of water, that the water now becomes a transmitting medium to take out the population that is dependent and contingent on this water, because this person went and changed the whole structure of it.
And again, look at the level of this conversation. If people are unaware of energetic poisons, energetic disease, and you're totally unaware of it, doesn't mean, you know, it doesn't mean that you're not susceptible. It actually means you're more susceptible. So there's a lot of things going on in our community right now that are the direct result of energetic poisoning.
I used to tell my mama, but she used to warn me about people doing witchcraft. I said, Mama, I ain't worried about the one that got the time to do the ritual, because they're not going to be thinking about me. I'm worried about the one that don't know they casting a spell when they wish I'd die for no reason.
How about that?
So let me ask y'all this.
How about that?
Because I said I like using examples to explain the science. Yes. And that's, you know, that's a way I use for the people to really get this.
Right.
If we're talking about waters, we're talking about these 45-degree angles, these 90-degree angles. And we're saying, and Rod had a magnificent example of how the water gets traumatized because it got to go here, then it go there, and it hits that wall by again. It gets traumatized by hitting that wall. We know as growing up in urban settings in the hood, shit go down on a corner. Your mama be like, boy, you was on that corner again, wasn't you? Mama always talking about that corner. That corner is that angle that we're talking about. My question with this science that Terrence Howard is talking about, Blue Pill, Rod Hayes, Sharif is talking about, can we cut down crime by making corners curved? Since we're talking about Mama Nature's curve, can we lower crime rates by turning corners that all the niggas chilling in the hood into curves? Can we cut crime by
You ain't been to the suburbs, have you? Where we don't normally live?
Curves and cul-de-sacs.
I was about to say, I never heard about nobody spinning the
Well,
cul-de-sac.
we had a cultural attraction to the corner anyway.
Oh,
And a
man.
corner, if you know anything about Papa Legba, you already know what a corner is.
Yeah, we got a cultural connection to corners anyway. When we coming into manhood and we want to test our grit.
Before you say, what's Papa Legba in the corners? Because I gotta know. Say that real quick before Rod goes in. Real quick, Sharif, real quick.
Papa Legba is Lord of the Crossroads.
Okay.
That's a gate. A crossroad is a gateway.
Okay. Got you. All right. Gotta get it right.
Crossroads a gateway.
So when we go to the crossroads as boys becoming men, because if you pay attention to when we go hang out on the corner, boys are becoming men.
Yes.
You want to test your grit, you go stand with Papa Leg because he gonna put you to the test.
It's coming.
Man, oh man.
It's coming.
You go deal with Baron Samadi. He gonna put you to the test.
On that corner.
Yeah.
The corner is where you communicate with both sides. Every time they create a corner, they create a gateway that can download information from the spirit realm to the physical realm. Where do all accidents happen at? The 90% of accidents happen at the corner. They very rarely happen in open road.
I don't park on the corner. When I was in, I don't park.
You get your car hit.
Yeah,
look,
a lot.
In major cities, different people got different cultural reasons to stay off the corner, right? And we come up with those reasons, like Brother Rich said, I don't park on the corner. Cats in Chicago said, man, we don't hang out on the corner. Po would come harassing you on the corner, right? And this is all over the country now. The corner has become the hot spot for law enforcement to harass the boys trying to become men. They going to face Papa Legba themselves. They ain't waiting on mama and daddy to remind them who Legba is, because he gonna show up in some form or another. You just ain't gonna know it's him. And if you come with the wrong energy, he can send you home with your tail between your legs if you make it home.
Yeah, and that's in your
Who cul-de-sac? Who said that word?
I did.
You know what's interesting? Let me just say this real quick before you start, Blue. What's interesting, the fact that you even brought that up, Blue. I just moved to Atlanta 2 years ago, and the homes that had cul-de-sacs were more expensive. So when you live in a home with a curvature, they were more expensive than the other home. This shit, I be thinking I'm bugging out. Is this show mind blowing or what, y'all? Go ahead, Blue. I'm sorry.
So I created this image. Funny enough, right? I don't know if it's Philly picking up, but it says "whoop that trick," and they got Papa Legba in the background because Papa Legba is a trickster. So we don't understand it. We just been fooled by the, by the wise ones playing the fool, right? Cat Williams started the year with this energy. He was a Legba, the opener of the way. He's short, he even wears red and black, and he's the jokester. But he was the wise one who said that he read 3,000 books by the time he was a child, and people laughed at him. Said that he could run a 4-point whatever, and he did it. So you're doubting this jokester when he's standing on nothing but truth. This is what got him so far, is his honesty, actually, right? So this whole aspect of a Legba is scientifically can be explained that at 90-degree angles, this is where positive ions get captured, right? And positive ions is the opposite of what you would consider. Positive ions attract negativity. Negative ions attract positivity. So negative ions, what happens when waves crash at the ocean, is creates what's called the Leonard effect. Gives you superhuman strength. If I did 100 push-ups, I could go to the beach and do 150.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You're more powerful when you are in the presence of negative ions. You can create negative ions by creating surfaces that go round. Huts, if you lived in a hut, or if we rounded the corners of our rooms with pyramids. This is what Lester Loving used to bring. The science that Lester Loving brought was about creating the curvature in your homes to create a condition of tranquility in your home. And he will prove it to you by setting the copper, a copper jar with water with a crystal hanging that was wrapped by copper spiral in the middle of your room, and your room will become air conditioned without no air conditioner. He would do this in the middle of the summer. This is bringing back ancient technology that we could save on.
Electro-culture.
Yeah, we could save on all of that extra stuff. If there's so many masters amongst us in this community that have solutions that are ancient technology, and that what we're speaking about tonight is definitely one of those things. We have to curve the corners. You feel me? That's the key to it. You go to any indigenous community around the planet in antiquity and find square corners. We did not build like that. Everything was circumambulated so we could circulate energy. We understood this.
Fact. That's right.
You mentioned Cat Williams in that interview. Do you remember his necklace?
Yes.
Woke folk.
Four corners to the center. Listen, four corners to the center. Square in the circle. So it's an old question. How did you get the circle out the square or the square out the circle? Right? He was showing the answer to the question in his jewelry.
Fine.
All four corners converged on pi. That's the symbol of the man that we call Ta, standing on his post, holding his scepter. Right? So Ta is the fashioner. And the fashioner is the one that makes the man. He forms the man from the raw element. But this is the father side of masonry, not the mother side. Because the mother side is abstract. It's the character that can't be put in a box that the mother cultivate the wisdom in the child. The father teach the son to bump straight, and the mother teach him to stand up straight on four corners. So no matter whether he's dealing with Legba or the return of the Ogun, he gonna always hold his position right there under the light post.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Now, y'all speaking to the 44 guards, so please, with some respect, when you talk about the chains and the fours and the four, like this is the science I've been talking about forever. That's the star of Anana that he's rocking because it's an indestructible foundation. You can't break an 8-pointed star. You know what I'm saying? And that navigation piece that he's rocking, that's an ancient amulet. You feel me? So, and going back to what Terrence was speaking about in terms of carbon, 4 negative and 4 positive, right? There's only 3 phases. We go from invisibility and infinity to popping out to show a nigga, and then back to invisibility and infinity. And in betwixt of it, he said, what? You take 4 breaths. You pause for 4 and you release for 4. That's life and death. He's like, it's only 3 things. You go from nothing, you check in, and you go back to nothing. And that's the whole story.
And they made a game called Pop Goes the Weasel to express that.
What a beautiful.
Woo!
They don't know when one of the elders is going to pop up in us if they don't know how to read the stars.
Damn,
this was the purpose of being good navigators. Because when you know where the stars align over what city and what energy frequency coming in, you can track the chiefs now. Just don't let them know the science. Right?
You get it, right.
So we reconstructing a new future right now in real time. And that's why I told Brother Rich, I said, we come in teams. And everybody do their part according to their skill set that they developed over their lifetime. When certain ones of us move, it makes a whole group of us move all over the planet. We concerned with the struggle we face with over here, but we don't realize that we also affecting the outcome of everybody else's struggle around the planet. Right? It's all back to the alchemy. It's back to the metaphysics, the quantum physics, and it's back to the frequency and the vibration that we're trying to raise into people's psychology and psychiatry. The mental state is the subjugating battlefield of the oppressive regime through miseducation and misinformation. So now you got all of these brothers coming out now. We ain't got no degrees. I ain't got no PhD.
Right.
Right? I don't regurgitate scholastic data. I tell you what the spirit told me, and then I go get you a reference to show you what it looked like in the physical world. But to people, it make it look like I'm smart. So I just smile and act like I'm smart. But I'm just reading the frequency and the energy that I learned how to translate by trying to build myself into the best me. Them just side effects of the skills developed in the pursuit of the better self. Right? And we learn how to read the water, the air, the trees, the animals talk to us. It just don't sound like people want it to sound.
That's right.
Hey,
they want the animal to talk to you in English. He don't talk in English. He talk in frequency.
That's right.
And I'm good. I'm about to get to that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Ron. I'm about to get to that. Before I do, Sharif, what's this you sent me right here? You sent me this right here. What exactly? We're talking about curvature.
That's an example. That's an example. Brother Rod and Brother Blue Pill were talking about how in the old world and our forefathers would utilize the copper mysteries and would utilize the copper mysteries in particular to take advantage of scalar waves that work and move in spirals and in circles to enrich the soil to produce crops that are like humongous.
Fire.
That's exactly what you're looking at right there.
Look,
it's called electro-culture.
How you think I grew this hair? I had a copper tensor ring around my hair, and I showed niggas and I told them, and people is just, I don't know. And they still trying to figure out how to grow their hair. And I'm like, I showed you how to do it twice. I had the afro cut it off and grew it back. I mean, what the hell is going on? And it was because of copper.
No doubt.
So Sharif, so you plant this in the soil, you saying?
Stick it right in the garden.
Stick it right in the soil.
Yes.
Hey, this will make people believe if they don't watch you do it, they'll think that you use some kind of modern chemicals to produce with the plants that this does.
Correct.
Exactly. Now, your watermelon to be 3 times sweeter, but it might be 4 times bigger.
Right. With no pesticides.
With no pesticides, Blue.
No.
Yo, see this shit? History, this shit. Listen, I'm proud, nigga. I'm proud. I'm very proud tonight. This is amazing, y'all. Let's continue. I want to ask y'all this. Because we're 1 hour and 22 minutes in. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We got over 2,000 people in the chat. Shout out to all of y'all for joining us. Brother Rich is very hype. I'm super excited about tonight's show. I love our people being scientists is something that excites me. I feel as though our potential and the spacesuits that we inhabit, we can make brilliant scientists. So I'm just happy to be a part of this and facilitate this. One of the things that was talked about on the show, and once again, shout out to Terrence Howard, shout out to Joe Rogan for having him on the show. And I also want to give Joe Rogan a shout out for being as big. He's the biggest podcast in the world. And he went against that thing in 2020 that everybody, all the celebrities, a lot of them were like hoes, and whatever you tell them to do, and you give them, you give a whole money, and they do what you tell them. They was like hoes, and you gave them money, and you tell them to do this, they gonna do it. Joe Rogan went against the grain, and he said, "No, I'm not taking that shit. No, I ain't doing it." And he was the biggest podcast in the world, so I gotta give him props for going against that. And like I said, my channel got suspended so many times for talking about that. You all know what I'm talking about. But one of the things Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan talked about is that, and all of us talked about in the past, is that everything vibrates, everything is alive. So if everything vibrates and everything is alive, this is the question I have for you that I noticed. And once again, I like using personal examples in life to describe complex sciences so that our people can understand complex sciences through those personal examples. Here's a personal example. I noticed that I had a car, like the last car I had, when I stopped caring about it, and I might have said this on the show with Blue Pill before. When I stopped caring about it, I just got tired of maintenance and all that. I've been living in New York, whatever. The more I stopped caring about it, the more it broke down. The more negativity I spoke on it, I'll say some negative shit like, man, fuck out of here. I ain't cleaning that shit. Next thing you know, I get a flat. This don't work. That don't work. That don't work. So it's almost like, I'm like, hold up. Does this shit hear me? And I'm young. I'm like, hold up. Does this shit you know what? This is breaking. The more I criticize it, the more it's breaking down. So I'm like, hold up. You know how a woman feels, how you feel. They got their intuition. I'm like, is the car like a motherfucking woman? Does it feel what I'm saying? Like this shit is just like, so talk to me about objects like a car, like a phone, even with a phone. You stop taking care, you stop caring about it, you criticize it, all of a sudden you drop it, it cracks, it breaks, it this. So it's like these things that we call phones, cars, whatever, it almost like they understand us. And when we stop caring about it, it stopped caring about us. And it breaks down. So talk to me about its ability. It seems like it has an ability to understand us. And can you explain this shit? Because this shit is mind-boggling.
Okay. Well, first off, Brother Rich, you describe in your book of life and how you process your life.
Okay.
When you run into them obstacles like that, if you neglect something that you know you're supposed to do, you're going to create a condition that's going to force you to go back to where you was until you pass the test.
Absolutely.
You lay these out in your book of life so that you can remember what you're working on while you here, one step at a time.
Right.
You can't skip steps, because every time you skip a step, you get sent back to repeat the step. That's your book of life. As far as the inanimate objects, they only going to follow the energy that you carry with you. They not animate. They don't have what we call soul essence, but they still have the spirit of the object. You probably, the two brothers here probably, I don't know if you old enough, Brother Rich, but all of us had an uncle, grandfather, or elder that called their car by a female name and say, sometimes you just got to talk to her.
I've heard
you go out there try to start the car, it won't start. Then he come out there, he say, "Yo, you don't know how to get old Bessie started, do you?" And he say, "Sometimes she needs a little love." He go grab his polishing rag and he talking sweet to the car and polishing the car up. He get in there and half turn start on the first try.
What the fuck, yo? Yo, you right.
Fact.
Yo, you right.
It's a fact.
Oh, man. Yo, you right, bro.
And Rod, the reason why is that
shit.
the vehicle becomes our external body.
Come on, bro.
When you're traveling through time and space, you know, and I've done it in states of mind that was slightly amplified, and I was slightly outside of my body, and I was like, yo, I'm sitting, but I'm moving. And I'm moving at 90 miles per hour through space, but I'm in this vehicle. But if the vehicle wasn't here, would I be so confident and so poised and collected? And I'm like, I'm literally moving through this desert because I was in Arizona going through a desert at night. And I'm like, yo, the car's doing like 80 or 90. And I'm like, my body is still, but I'm moving through the desert. Right. So this car now becomes an extension of my body. Same way that this body is an extension of my spirit, this encasing my spirit. Same way that if I co-create something externalized like AI, and that becomes an extension of my mind, you feel me? It's these things that they say, are they real or sentient or not? Everything has an aspect of animation to it, and you are tethered and connected to it. If you dependent, damn, I'm just glad I got where I got to. Thank you, Carl. Right? Or as you know, if I could quote a hip-hop lyric, I let my watch talk for me, my whip talk for me, my right. So
what up, homie?
Yeah. So you've externalized your identity in this vehicle. This vehicle has become the external aspect of your identity of how you're going to get the things that you want and desire. So yeah, we have a lot of stock in those cars, especially when we know what it can get us, the doors that it can open for us. It's not animate, but it can animate something for you. It put a smile on her face that can lead to something else. So yeah, I think that there's a relationship that we have. I think that everything that we interact with is animated. I don't
Watch
believe that
this.
nothing is non-animated.
There's also the other aspect as well. And in quantum physics, and I've talked about this before on your show, brother. In quantum physics, it's called the quantum operator. Blue pill, that flyer, wave gods, yo, bro. Wow. Speaks directly to what I'm about to say.
Yes.
You know, quantum mechanics tells us that at the scalar levels, everything is probability. It's wave function.
Wave function, yes.
But what collapses the wave function to an actual physical event? The
Observer.
quantum operator. And what is the quantum operator? Human consciousness.
Human consciousness.
That's what it
Hey,
is.
look, a comparative analysis. The same way you describe being in that car, moving at 90 miles an hour while you sitting still, your higher self is in your body while you walk into the store saying, woo, I'm walking to the store at 2 miles an hour and I'm sitting still.
Ain't that something?
Right?
Right? Cycles within cycles, relays, comparative events.
A beautiful thing when you see it, man. Man, we live such an artful existence. I appreciate this panel. I appreciate you, brothers. I appreciate life, man. I'm so life static because the more that you understand the process, it just becomes, you surrender
easier
to stress and the pain of it. You're like, yo, I got this. Let's go. Right. And I know that this is what we want for the family. So I'm so excited, even for the population, that there's such a burst every day. There's something new going on.
Right. The vibration is speeding up, and it just is what it is. And it's even for those of us that are benefiting, everybody benefits eventually, but even for those of us that are benefiting during the speed up, it's still a little uncomfortable because you got to adjust. You got to adjust to the higher vibration. And so that it makes you uncomfortable, and it's discomfort that causes growth. Thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. Stillness and relaxation create stagnation. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
now you understand the chapter of misery.
You already know, bro. But you got to have that agitation to get you to move. When that vibration raises, the higher tide raises all ships.
All ships, yes.
Look, the strongest ones gonna stay at the bottom the longest because they can take it better than the rest. Until it come a time when spirit calls the strongest ones at the bottom to flip the pyramid and stand on top. This is the whole philosophy of the rejected stone that the builders rejected, becoming the chief cornerstone. He went from being a cornerstone at the setting of the foundation to being the capstone over the arch. That's the royal arc degree, right? That's at the crown chakra. So when we go through these phases, we can't lose track of the struggle is there because we can take it more than other people. So we took on the struggle to build up the pre-karma in order to cleanse other people's wicked ways from the planet. It's a catharsis of the ones that was on top. They have to burn that energy off in order for them to be refined into something better than they was when they was created.
Come on, brother. The fire in the cipher burns cold and murders everything, not pure gold.
What I was speaking to someone earlier about, this very energy receptive, we were attempting to put into words what we've been feeling the last few days. And I was like, you know how you blow a dandelion and just all of the petals fly off?
Yes, sir.
Whatever came through cosmically, like last week, it dissipated like negative spell energy, things that have had people heavy and compounded and like that stuff has been destroyed, dissipated. And I don't know, they're not going to tell you and sound the alarm, family, but something has changed. You feel
it's visible for the ones who can see the signs, but the visibility is cloaked with the artificial narrative being scripted and spoon-fed to us as if we some children that don't know what we looking at. They watching the movie. I don't want to watch the movie. I want to watch the director and the writer. What y'all putting together, right? So when I'm telling y'all what the director and the writer doing, y'all think I'm talking about the movie. I can give less than a damn about the movie.
Right.
It might be a good movie. I might not have a problem with the movie itself. I just got a problem with the writer and the narrative he was pushing, and the director for pushing you in a direction that the writer wanted you to go. These ultraviolet rays coming in from the sun is gonna keep coming in until all of this mental fog is lifted from the people. They waking up.
Oh yeah,
it's fact.
No, they definitely waking up. Listen, I'm gonna tell you. One of my lady's friends sent my girl a video. Check this out: a video of KT the arch degree. And KT the arch degree was talking about how they remove lead paint from the homes so that they can introduce 5G and all that, because the lead paint would have blocked the 5G and all that. So she was like, "Yo, my girl, it was a guy, her friend. I'm just gonna say friend. Said it. She's like, yo, this nigga's deep. My girl's like, nigga, he spoke in my baby shower. She's like, you don't remember him? KT spoke in my baby shower and she was there, but she don't even remember him. So my girl's like, nigga, she was at my baby shower. You don't remember him? She's like, for real? She's like yeah, nigga, he was right there speaking.
Different time.
So,
what you're looking at is her being in two different levels of consciousness. What she seen was the seed. The fruition, the fruit, was when she sent the video back. Oh, it clicked.
Oh yeah.
The seed began to germinate now.
Oh yeah, facts. Let me ask y'all this, because I got to we got about 20 minutes left. I don't want to keep these gentlemen too long. I appreciate all these gentlemen for coming on tonight.
Yes, sir.
This idea, when we talk about science, this is a scientific conversation tonight. When we talk about science, the most popular equation that comes to mind, we remember since we was young, E equals MC squared. A lot of us don't even know what that means, but we remember the equation. Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan talked about Einstein briefly. Whoever's into the whole science thing, they're gonna bring up Einstein, whether it's Neil deGrasse Tyson, even if it's Billy Carson, whoever it is, when they're into science, quantum physics, Bruce Lipton, whoever, Einstein name is going to come up. What are your the three of y'all, what are your thoughts on Einstein and this worldwide famous equation of E equals MC squared?
The reason why, E is energy.
Yeah.
It's the equation is equal to matter, and C represents the speed of light. Squared means times 2. Right? That was the reason why that formula was so urgent, is because it opened a pathway for what's known as the Manhattan Project. And the science from that is where Lloyd Quartermain and his physicist team went in when they couldn't figure out how to turn Einstein's formula into a method to split the atom. And then they designed the atomic bomb based on that science. That's what make him discovering the reversed energy. If it's mass moving at the speed of light squared, then if you can interrupt the nucleus, then it'll set off what's called a chain reaction, which they call nuclear fission, right? And this in turn will cause what's known as the radioactive fallout, which is a side effect of the splitting of the atom. This is the only reason why it's the most popular formula, because it was the foundational formula for splitting the atom.
What I like, first of all, I like what you just said. But for me, and in my own personal studies, Einstein, first and foremost, yes, Einstein's theory made possible the Manhattan Project, the success of the Manhattan Project, flat out. That's the truth. But now, what Einstein's theory did, what his theory, his unified field theory did, was that it advanced Newtonian physics and brought it right to the threshold of matter itself. But when we get past matter, right, we got snow on the roof, so we all came up in school where they said the atom is the primary building block of matter, but we know better. See what I'm saying? We know better now. And I know if you were like me, If you were like me, a little knucklehead, egghead, you were like, okay, well, if that's the case, what are atoms made of? And then what are they made of? And then what are those things made? We were asking those questions, at least in our head, right? So we know now that at the deeper subatomic level is when you start to see holes in E = MC squared, right? You start to see holes in it because, simply put, in Einstein's unified field theory, nothing that has mass can approach or surpass the speed of light, because then the mass would be infinite. And then, but we know that there's subatomic particles and there's all kinds of other things that travel faster than the speed of light and still have mass, tachyons, muons. You know what I'm saying? So
his unified field theory was a little bit different. That's what gave rise to the understanding of quantum entanglement.
Yes.
That all things being connected.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Which metaphysically is sound, and that's not Einstein's original work. The unified field theory can be traced back to Kemet, back to ancient America, back to ancient Tibet. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he just put it into modern science to be utilized to understand it. He also gave him the observer effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So his works, he did a lot of good scientific work, but scientifically, it might sound arrogant to say this, but Einstein was a toddler compared to our ancestors.
Absolutely. And not only our ancestors, there's a brother alive right now named Dr. Gabriel Oyibo, who has a grand unified theorem, and he puts his foot all the way up the butt of an Einstein. So that's been debunked or what have you. But it's like you said, it's necessary to hold apart a Western approach, a Western paradigm. But I think Terrence Howard did a very good job of challenging, you know what I'm saying, the validity of that by saying, where does ether fit in? Because that becomes the conflict with Western science has to tie itself to Western ideology or philosophy, which goes into religion or Eastern religion. And in the Western world, they do not denote or acknowledge spirit. So they do not denote or acknowledge ether to a degree, which makes them, you know what I'm saying? You take a whole hemisphere out of your observation. You're looking and listening to people who have a partial analysis.
There you go.
Compartmentalized partial analysis, and they do not see the holistic picture. Why are you still listening to people who only found out that there was another hemisphere to the planet in the 1500s? They can't talk to you about how the mind or the brain or anything works. They have not mastered the other side of it. They have not mastered the feminine side, and they have not mastered, and they're from the East playing with Western philosophy and forgot to bring Eastern philosophy with them. Now they're in the West, assed out because they're one-sided and lopsided, and it never was a conjoining of information over here. That's what this thing was supposed to be the beauty that it could potentially have been. Our date with destiny here in the Americas. Imagine if we embraced the philosophy and the information that was left in the Americas.
Now, brother Blue Pill, to that point, I'm of the firm belief, and you already know where I'm going with this as a member of the More Science Temple of America. I'm of the firm belief that the true American is still in the oven and it ain't done yet. You see what I'm saying? To that point. Now, what you said about the ether, go ahead, Walt, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, please.
What you said about the ether, you hit it right on the nose regarding Einstein's theory, right? Because early on in Einstein's career, there was the whole principle of the luminiferous ether, and then early on, Einstein said he debunked it, but then later recanted, but they never published the fact that he recanted his previous statement about luminiferous ether.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right. And he got to the cusp, right? Strange and spooky things at a distance, like Rod Hayes said.
Action at a distance.
Introducing the concept of quantum entanglement and quantum physics, but not being able to go there.
How about that?
Right. Now it's on us. You know what I'm saying? Into this quantum mania and be like, we got this from here. Yeah.
My next question would be
when I hold on, Rich. When I was growing up and somebody told me that I know all the stuff I know, I'd have fell out laughing.
Facts. Yeah. Wow. Let me ask y'all another quick question. Since we're talking about, I'm asking you some science questions about Albert Einstein. There's so much speculation and what people will call conspiracy theories about gravity. Terrence Howard said gravity ain't what they taught us it is at all. It's the result. I believe he said it's a result of electricity. Am I right, Blue? Is that what he was saying? Is a result of electricity? But regardless, and Blue, you could touch on it first. But what exactly? Because the flat earthers have a concept of gravity that the round earthers don't have. Then this person has a concept that this person doesn't have. There's so many different concepts of what gravity exactly is. What's your thoughts on this phenomenon called gravity in the scientific world?
Blue, you up?
When we look at the quote unquote G at the center of the compass is square, right? And we know the compass of square is hitting on us a 47-degree angle that is split into 23.5 degrees representing the Tropic of Cancer, and the other 23.5 representing the Tropic of Capricorn. And it's supposed to circumscribe or circumambulate or separate, right, the quote unquote the hemispheres of the poles, if you will, or the magnetic poles. Some say that G stands for geometry and not gravity necessarily, right? And I think that with Terrence, how it was hitting on is, again, this is another concept of their false god, that gravity as a creation is made from them, from something that they don't fully understand because they're not going through the whole holistic process of how things work. Now, Terrence Howard is basing his work on Walter Russell's books and Walter Russell's philosophy. And what Walter Russell was saying that everything is electricity. You know what I'm saying? So gravity is the dissipation or the appearance of, it's the evidence of the dissipation of electricity. Don't quote me on that because he says it a lot better than I'm probably saying it, right? But what he demonstrated, right, what made me sit down and say, you know, I have to bear witness to what I'm bearing witness to and do further research, is that he utilized a model in a simulation, right, putting together the different frames of the flower of life to build out the model of Saturn. And he built out the model of Saturn, and it was you know, completely intact with the rings as well as the hexagonal North Pole, and it used no gravity whatsoever to put it in motion.
Blue,
So
Blue, I'm sorry, Blue. I'm very sorry. Before you continue your answer, can I read you something from Walter Russell? Me and you did a real quick. Me and you did a show on him, and I know this is gonna allow you to finish up this. Let me just read this real quick, Blue. I should have had this prepared before, but I just pulled this up. All right, let me just read this, family, real quick before Blue finishes. He says, this is from the books, The Secret of Light. This book is for free online. It's page 149 to 150. Let me just read this real quick since Blue brought up Walter Russell. Walter Russell says gravitation is the male principle of creation. Gravity refolds toward the seed. Radiation is the female principle of creation. Radiation unfolds from the seed. The generating light of gravitation and the degenerative light of radiation are projected through each other from rest to rest in pulsing sequences to manifest idea by born and father-mother forms of idea due to avoiding interchange. The principle of rhythmic balance interchange between father-mother lights of gravitation and radiation is fundamental in all creating things. It is the principle of two-way equal giving, which manifests the quality of love in the light of the one. That may be complicated for a lot of people. It's complicated for me, but I just wanted to read that. Okay,
you know why it's not complicated for them? Because you actually got a light behind you that's doing the thing that you're talking about.
Talk to him, Blue. Talk to me, Blue.
It literally is doing the same thing, right?
That's right.
It's going from one state to the other, and it's showing you that it's really one. It's an oscillation at different extremes. So in so many ways, in so many essence, he's explaining, you know, what creation is in terms of the interaction and the interplay of these opposites that have to come to a conjoining point and return to the seed. Like he said, life is the unfurling of the seed, living, and then going back to the furling of that particular same seed. You know, and that interplace, that center point, I guess is what he's speaking of. That's what they're confusing or ascribing to these concepts of what they call gravity, while excluding the thing that they're refusing to see. You know what I'm saying? Because they are what they are to, you know, faulted to a point by their inability to acknowledge a whole nother hemisphere. So they're looking at it one eye any and all times, attempting to tell you about reality through the prism of one eye or one hemisphere.
Excellent.
Linear logic only, no abstract reason, no right brain involvement in the translation of the data. Go back to the beginning of this so-called discovery of gravity. Newton sitting under a tree, apple fall out, bump him into his head. And he said, ouch, what made this apple hit me upside my head? So whatever the cause was, he named it gravity, right? And the descriptive analysis was that the larger object's pull draws the smaller object to it, right? This is the standard model for gravity, but it don't explain why the moon don't crash into the earth. Right? The moon should be crashed into the earth based on position, unless there's something else keeping the moon from crashing into the earth, because the pull of the earth is like 10 times stronger than the pull of the moon. The moon's supposed to surrender its orbit to the superior body according to the laws of gravity, but it doesn't.
Good point.
Right? So there's something else at play. The narrative that you was just reading describes the field, what we would call it an electromagnetic field.
Yes.
It's the magnets, the draw and the pull. And they come together, they create a field. And this is how cymatics can show you what sound look like in the three-dimensional form without you being able to see the sound with your naked eye. But you can see the side effect of the sound in the cymatic design that tells you from the shape structure of what you designed, what the frequency, pitch, tone, and vibration was of the sound used to make it. Right? So when we go to Michael Talbot's The Holographic Universe, right, you need a fixed position object and a moving object to produce the hologram. All parts of the hologram is equivalent to the whole of the hologram. You can see all parts in the microcosmic piece of the hologram, right? But they don't always have to look the same, right? So this is how we become holographic projectors of the God force in human form. That's the truth, but the human form is the falsehood, right? So when we realize we're not the body, then the mind can leave the body sitting where it's at and go do its own business. They call it astral projection, lucid dreaming, and it's just a natural capability of spirit beings to be able to leave the physical vessel and traverse higher realms of consciousness, what they call higher dimensions. The electromagnetic field has in it a point where if you're closer to one side of the magnet, you will go to that one. But if you're closer to the other, you'll go to that one, right? That's called magnetism. This is what the guy you was just reading is describing, the effect of magnetism on the object that comes between the field projected from the push and the pull of the electricity and the magnetism, or the radiance and the attractive properties of the motherline, fatherline. Right? Remember, our ancestors always use person, places, or things to teach complex sciences in a simplified form. And we begin to worship those names of those nouns as gods, but they just principles in quantum physics to be able to be used to explain to people who doesn't have a scientific background how the energies is moving. When we talk about Big Mama energy, everybody been to Big Mama house. They all know what we talking about. But if we put it into a scientific form, now we talking dark matter. We talking orgone energy. We talking prime ether. And the science keep changing the name to try to confuse the children who the name belonged to in the first place. When we called it the primordial noon, we knew what we was talking about. But now they think that the primordial noon is some being walking around calling himself noon. Mork from Ork. It's not going to happen. It's a scientific formula used in person, place, of things in order to explain the concept of the mother energy of prime creator, the father energy, the active principle of creation, right? The mother and the father line. A side effect of the father is he going to have a son in his image after his likeness, procreation, right? We still telling biology, quantum physics, metaphysics, all in the form of the holy drama, the great story. But it's playing out in the human reality as our day-to-day life, but all it is a reenactment of the creation story being played out in the human arena. And this is why every time we get to the close of the age, a whole bunch of us wake up at one time and start teaching. Just get to work, roll your sleeves up. We got a new reality to create. We got to prepare for the next 24,000 years by laying the foundation of the first 7 generations of this age.
There you go.
Just what we doing.
Yes.
I just had a luxury of having multiple past life memories so I could come back and say, hey, I remember doing this before. My phone didn't have English letters on it, but they sure as hell had hieroglyphics on it, or they had cuneiform on it, or Sanskrit on it, depending on which time frame. But we do it all the time. Plummet to the depths in order to rise to the heights. If you don't know what it's like to be rock bottom, you will never be able to appreciate being on top.
Man, oh man.
And that's the chapter of misery. You got to be miserable to stay at the bottom. And we be weak in a whole lot of stuff, but it's one thing that we obstinate and unmoved. What is that, Mo? His name is misery.
So so we were talking about the whole thing about gravity, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like what Brother Rod was talking about. Brother Rod gave a very eloquent description of Newtonian physics, the whole,
Apple.
Yeah, there you go. But see, that's Newtonian physics, right?
Yes.
Ask any scientist worth their salt when you're doing experiments regarding gravity. They give you one major caveat. They say, don't do this. Do not utilize rotating objects. If you use rotating objects, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
No, follow me. We can take 2 balls, same or different. One weighs more than the other because gravity works equally on mass, right? Regardless of the size. And fire those 2 balls at the same time, at the same trajectory, with the same power. Even though one weighs more, they will both fly to the same height equally and fall equally. Yes. Now, let's take 2 identical balls, same size, same weight.
Yeah.
Do the exact same thing. But one of them you set spinning at a high rate before you launch them. The one spinning will go higher faster and fall further faster than the other. And there's nothing in Newtonian physics that can explain that. Nothing. So the simple observation is the one spinning is getting extra energy from somewhere.
Right.
All right. So now what are we talking about? We're talking about, like, we talked about gravity, and we talked earlier about space actually being a fabric. So now we're talking, like Brother Blue Pill is talking about the ethers at various rates, right? Yes. So it's actually a fabric. It is the alchemical waters, the waters of the deep. Now, That's it. That's space.
Yes.
Now, since it's a fabric, like think about a blanket stretched out, right? Any dip in the blanket is a modification of space-time, and that we call gravity.
Woo! Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
have a rotating object,
Yeah.
a rotating object can modify space-time.
That's a known scientific fact too.
So that's what UFOs do?
Okay, bro, you had to go there. Here we go. We talked about it before. Right?
Is that what UFOs are doing?
This is the object. This is space. To us, the object moves across space.
You said
now
that.
The UFO moves space. It shrinks space in front of it and expands space behind it, so it is not moving. Space is moving. And since you got 3 dimensions of space and one dimension of time, UFOs modify space-time. They are time machines.
I love it. Oh, total victory tonight. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. This is beautiful. Listen, gentlemen, I appreciate this so much.
I can't take credit for that. I mean, we do our study and everything fine, but it's the presence of the other brothers that pull things out of you.
Listen, I appreciate. I'm gonna say, they say show gratitude. I appreciate this live so much from you gentlemen tonight. This is like a dream team of our scientists in our community who deals with this level of information. And like I said, all 3 of y'all have played an important role on my channel in this important year of 2024. So it was only right that I lined the 3 of y'all up tonight for a show to talk about a conversation that took place that went viral, that has the whole world talking about. So yeah, I'm just excited. Like Rod said, man, everybody, this is the time we live in. We the knowledge is going to come out. You see what I'm saying? So everybody, I want all of y'all to leave your contact information. Tell everybody how they could get in touch with each and one of y'all. Oh, this was such a good show. Go ahead, y'all.
Who will go first? At Blue Pillar 44 on Instagram, at Blue Pillar 44. CosmicDust.com, COZMIKDUST.com. I got some drip, I got stones, some jewelry, bunch of stuff from Arizona and stuff is on that site. And gowater.com. Of course, yesterday we celebrated our 5-year anniversary. GOLDEWATER.com. Shout out to the Goldwater family.
There we go.
Peace.
5 years. Yeah. Go ahead, Brother Rod.
Y'all can find me on Instagram at the Sick 8 or on Facebook at Rod Hayes. Otherwise, catch me over here at Brother Rich on Young Elder.
Praise the Lord. I can be found on the gram, Sharif Bey, or at Life of a Grand Sheik. I can be found, of course, on Facebook, Sharif Anael Bey, and on TikTok, Seafood Sharif. Find me there on TikTok as well.
Indeed. Hey, family, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. We still got about 2,200 people in the chat. I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Classic historic show tonight. I really want y'all to listen to what was being said tonight. The questions, the answers, just everything about tonight was exactly what I imagined it to be. And I'm thankful for that. Like I said, once again, shout out to Terrence Howard for opening up this conversation, allowing us to have a conversation that the people would appreciate it on this level. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for that. With that being said, I want to thank everybody. With that being said, we get out of here. See you next time. Get out of here. Peace, family.
One thing before we go, Brother Rich.
I
just wanted to tell the brother that he would make C. Freeman Hill very proud.
Sharif, right? Yo, that's facts. That's facts. Yo, that's fact. Yo, Sharif.
That was my Boris metaphysical teacher, C. Freeman Hill.
Beautiful.
That's a fact.
Good man.
Yo,
that was a good man.
That's a big compliment, Sharif. That's a huge compliment.
Was a giant.
Listen, we got to come up and be capable of holding the fort down for what they left us.
Absolutely.
Right? And we needed a Moorish metaphysician, and here he is. C. Freeman Neal, look, C. Freeman Neal came through, did a pigeon drop on us, left us with some high-powered stuff. Now it's up to one of the Moors with the black feds to come behind him.
Stand on his shoulders.
Yes, because a midget can see further from a giant's shoulders than the giant can see himself.
Come on, brother. That's a fact.
You know? So we standing on the shoulders of some very, very powerful elders that came before us. And we got to acknowledge that as part of acknowledging this whole struggle, the chapter of misery and the breaking free from the chapter. We can't stay in misery. We got to bring it to an end.
Right. Right.
They was left in power long enough for us to learn how to run a government. I could run it by myself. And I ain't the only one.
For sure.
Because what they doing over here, calling government, exploiting the people, it has to come to an end. And this is us announcing that it's an end to their reign and their tyranny and their misuse of the people. This got to be known. So when I see somebody standing on the shoulder of a giant, I'm gonna point that out.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
The more position, I like it. And that's what I noticed about Sharif. I was like, damn, this brother's Morris, and he's into the metaphysics. Like, I'm like, I gotta get this brother on the show. Like, and the brother
a lot of people think Morris science is only law.
Right.
It's way more than that.
It's way more than that.
That's
right. So this is why the prophet said, get a good Moorish education, because you're gonna find out some stuff gonna break your heart, and you're gonna find out some things that make you feel like a champ.
Oh, hold up. Also, before we leave, I'm sorry, y'all. They always ask about your cash apps. A brother just posted, what are the brothers' cash app? Do each one of y'all have a cash app? I know y'all do. But could you each individually say your cash app, spell it, because there's so many scammers out there. I don't want them to get the support. Please spell your cash app for the people like this brother Carol P, who wants to know, what's your cash app for the family out there? Everybody.
Same as my name, $ Blue Pillar 44, BLUEPILLAR 44.
And I'm gonna put this in the description too, also, y'all, when the show ends, because I really let me see.
Can you all see that?
Hold up. I'm about to.
That's mine.
Hold on, give me a second. I'm about to put all three of y'all. S.
Yep.
What happened? Who? Oh, Blue Pill. Yeah, Blue Pill having SNAEL. Yeah, somebody always asks about support, and that's good. That shows that y'all, you know. And I appreciate the super chats, but y'all always ask when Rod Hayes is on. Y'all always be like, yo, what's his cash app? So I definitely appreciate that y'all appreciate the works. Let me
Yes.
All right, so I got all three of the cash apps up for those who want to know. Like the brother posted, Blue Pillar $ Blue Pillar 44.
You misspelled mine. You misspelled mine.
Oh shit! Hold on.
Capital N.
I forgot the A, right? I forgot the.
Yeah, you forgot the A. Oh, the A. Yep, forgot the A. Yep.
We're gonna do that. While I do this, SANAEL. They already got Blue Pill. Let me just get So y'all seen Blue Pill's cash app?
Got it. Perfect.
Yeah, y'all seen Blue Pill's cash? Blue Pillar 44. We got S. Anael. Yeah, Anael Bay and $8. So for those who are asking about the cash apps, you want to show support, that's respected. You know, I appreciate and I love that. Those are the other two brothers' cash apps. A Blue Pill, $ Blue Pillar, or Blue Pill's back on. $ Blue Pillar. Yeah,
44.
44. With that being said, we hold up. Yeah, well, I just wanted to. I would love to end with all three on here, but Blue Pill, he's not. I would love to end with all three on here, but for some reason, Blue Pill's not coming back up. Yeah, Yeah, we hear him. I hear you. You did, right, Blue Bill?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, Blue Bill's here. We just can't see. But it's all good. Listen, we getting out of here. Historic show. We
This is
getting out of
powerful.
here. Yeah, no.
I appreciate all you brothers. I appreciate being in your presence. It pulled a lot out of me, and I learned a lot. This is powerful.
Oh yeah,
It's an honor, brother.
Yes,
Brothers,
sir.
all of you, family out there.
Y'all pull questions out of me. You know how you be proud of certain. I know y'all be proud of certain answers. I'm proud that I asked the question in particular when I was like, should we round the when I was talking about crime rates on the corners, and I was like, would perv in the corners reduce crime? And I'm like, who thinks of some shit like that? I love that, and the answers y'all gave was phenomenal. And this is all science and geometry, and the fact that we're even talking about things like that. These are things that unless you experience this in our community, you will never address. We understand what happens on the corners. We understand the geometry of the corners. So for us to have a scientific conversation about crime rates on the corners and solve it in one breath, like, this shit is phenomenal.
Look, the first thing I heard in my mind, I never saw a drive-by in a cul-de-sac, and then Rod Hayes said something about the cul-de-sac, and I'm like, look at that. We potentially
No, that was the brother mentioned the cul-de-sac. I mentioned the suburbs.
Yeah, we both being Blue.
That's where the cul-de-sac
at the same time. It's crazy.
Yo.
When you said suburbs, I seen cul-de-sac because I'm like, where else you gonna see a cul-de-sac but in the suburbs?
And you talking about standing at the crossroads, standing at the corners. One of the names of Baron Samadhi is Baron La Criminale.
Baron La Criminale.
Yo, for real? Yeah. See, I don't know that. Man, listen. I just be channeling shit. I ain't know that, man. Well, hold on, say it. Baron La Criminale?
Baron La Criminale is French. Damn, he's also a Baron LaCroix, Baron of the Cross, which is the crossroads.
Yeah.
And then he's Baron Samadhi, the Baron of Saturday. That's talking about Saturnian energy of the great judge.
Amazing. Hey, with that being said, listen, family, thank you once again. Rod Hayes, Blue Pillar, Sharif Bey. Thank you, my brothers. And it's good to see three brothers come on the show, as well as myself, and we just vibe. There's no arguing, there's no ego involved. We're different. We all come from different places in this 3D construct. Harlem, Sharif, where he come from, Rod, where he come from, Blue Pill, Brooklyn. I think Rod is Detroit. Rod, you Michigan, right, Rod?
Yeah, I'm in Michigan. I'm in Pontiac, right outside Detroit.
Sharif, where you originally from?
Born out west. I was born in Long Beach, grew up in the BX, and I'm in Syracuse now, upstate New York, Syracuse.
So, real quick, I got to put this part on because we were speaking about color, and I wanted to mention that the frequency, the color of sound, this color of A440 is orange. Hence the fact it's orange and it's a spectrum of blue when it goes from A to C. Hence the fact that the Empire State, the sports team colors are orange and blue. But what's the color of Syracuse?
Orange and blue.
And what's the number of Syracuse? What's the main number 44. Of the college of Syracuse? Think the legend of 44. The zip code is even 44. So we're able to show and prove in real time, utilizing science, how it has materialized in physical form.
I'm glad. Thank you for bringing it up, Blue. Blue, that was a perfect way to end it, Blue. I can't see you, my brother. You in the Black Cosmos.
I'm here with you.
No, we flipped off the four corner shuffle to the two ball cane from the motherland to the fatherland on the way out.
Rod talking that shit, y'all.
Right.
Hey, we out here, family.
Rod, you know I had the news for the four corners, right?
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace, family. Peace.
Peace, brother Rich. Peace, brother.